Welcome to today's Tuesday Tailgate Talk. Today we will be discussing documentation. You're probably asking yourself, why is documentation so important? Everything we do as maintenance can be dragged into a court of law when the agency is under litigation due to an accident or damage to agency assets. We will touch on a couple subjects that are part of documentation. Let's go! Did you know that the pre-trip, post-trip inspection forms you fill out every time you get into vehicles is documentation? This is documenting what is right or wrong with the unit. It is also a way to communicate with mechanics or even upper management of repairs or issues that need to be handled. One thing to remember, if the pre-trip is not completed and you find yourself in an accident, law enforcement will most likely ask to see it. If it isn't filled out, you could find yourself with a violation and possibly a ticket. The pre-trip, post-trip will be retained for a number of years, which is decided by your agency and federal regulations. Work orders are another form of documentation. Your work orders, if you use them, should reflect what you did for the day. What if you were in class all day? You were documenting that you were training and possibly in the story what class or classes you attended for that day. What happens if you respond to an accident and the individuals cause damage to your agency's assets? If you put a story in your work order of what happened, what assets, and where the damage was, and if possible, a police report, that work order might be used in litigation on your agency's behalf. Some agencies use a daily journal. The crew records what they did for the day, what the work order number is, and if there were any issues. These daily journals are a great form of documentation. Here you can also put in statements about what happened throughout the day. The daily journal is also a legal document. Little piece of advice: if you use the daily journals and work orders, ensure they match. If the work order numbers match but the description doesn't, this most likely will raise red flags in a court of law. What happens if there's an issue at work that you witnessed or maybe you're a part of? Sometimes people have bad days and there's conflict. The agency might ask for a statement. You would write the statement of how things happened so the agency had a clear story. Just like law enforcement does, they get statements from the individuals who were involved and can get a clearer look at the incident. You should also have a statement from everyone that was involved or witnessed the incident. The statement should be honest and what actually happened, not what someone tells you happened. If you did not see part of the incident, state that you did not see what happened between the two parts. If you have attended my temporary traffic control class, I talk about temporary traffic control plans. If you're going to set up a work zone, you must have a traffic control plan. Doesn't matter if the traffic control plan is on a napkin, printed out on paper, or doodled on your phone. This becomes a legal document. If there is an accident in the work zone, law enforcement will want the traffic control plan. One thing to remember is your traffic control plan should match what you have on the road. And if it doesn't, you should document on the traffic control plan of the changes and why the changes were made. Traffic control plans are important when it comes to legal documentation. The best documentation at times can be photos. Anyone that has worked with CSP or other law enforcement knows that when there is a fatality or a major accident, they will put a drone in the air and start taking pictures. These pictures will be put together to recreate the scene, and it will be used in the courtroom. Pictures are usually better than drawings. Drawings can have items left out. Pictures show everything. So, if there's an accident or you need to document something, take a picture. Take a couple pictures. But make sure to download them onto your computer or even attach to a work order. So, we've talked about various types of documentation, but maybe you're unsure of what to document. When documenting statements or accidents, you need to remember only the facts. Do not put in feelings, opinions, or hearsay. Document the facts, what you saw, what you heard, even what you smelled, or what you encountered. One way to do it is asking these questions. What exactly happened? Who was involved? The vehicles, amount of people, maybe agency assets. Do you know how it happened? Make sure when documenting you give directions. You don't want to say the accident happened next to Joe Bob's house. I don't know where Joe Bob lives. You want to document that it happened at First Street and Main Street on the northwest corner. When documenting, ensure that you list which way vehicles are facing. An example, the blue Ford F-150 was facing northeast in the southwest lane. The more precise description, the better. The way I like to think about it, when documenting, you're writing the incident out for people who were not there and don't know anything about what you do. You're drawing a picture for them. The more questions a lawyer has to ask about your statement, the more times you can either remember wrong or, as lawyers sometimes like to do, trip you up. So let's review what we've talked about. When documenting, remember, just the facts. No feelings, no hearsay, no opinion. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. All documentation is considered a legal document and can be used in a legal setting. Depending on your agency, will depend on how long you retain these documents. And documentation takes some practice, but once you have the skills down, it gets easier and easier. Thank you for attending the Colorado LTAP Tailgate Talk. Until next time, bye!